Hey guys, welcome back to Slightly Twisted Female. I'm your host, Brittany Rue. I've had a lot of conversations in the past couple of weeks about trans rights issues, gender critical feminism, and I shared one of my links about Karen White, the first episode of the Not Our Crime series that I've been doing chronicling the crimes of trans-identified males that are being listed as female crimes. And, somebody told me, responded on Twitter, and they said something that really impacted me. They said, why focus on the worst of the trans community? We don't want to be associated with our worst, just as you wouldn't want to be associated with your worst. Such as Eileen Wuornos, for example. And, that got me thinking. I was like, you're right. God, have we been, really just unfair? So, for this episode of Not Our Crimes, I decided to sort of just switch things up. And I decided that we're going to profile a hero of the trans community. Somebody who really took a stand for others. Who put personal needs aside and faced down the Goliath. He was a David, and all he had was a little pebble. But he said, I'm not afraid of the big giant. And I will face down my enemies on behalf of those who can't face down themselves. And he was successful. And I, today, for this episode of Not Our Crimes, I would like to pay homage to this brave, stunning leader of the movement. Born in 1955 was a man named David Warfield.
A Slightly Twisted Female presents Not Our Crimes.
He was a teacher who won the Stand and Deliver award for his teaching curriculum in the 1990s. He was beloved in the community. After 2 failed marriages and after giving birth to 2 children through his wife, as we read here on a blog, talking about his experience. I'm sorry, her experience. David Warfield, he decided one summer in 1999 that he was going to live his truth.
My body chemistry and physical shape is changing.
So at 44 years old, David Warfield gave birth to Dana Rivers, a woman who always lived inside of him, but was ready to emerge like the butterfly that she was. She contacted the school, her employer, and let them know that she would be returning not as David Warfield, but as a she/her Dana Rivers.
Back in June of 1999, David Warfield was an award-winning teacher who was leaving for summer break to make the biggest transition of his life. He returned in the fall as a woman.
The school said that they would accept her decision to begin a medicalized transition, but they requested that she not discuss the details of her personal LARPing fetish with her children that she taught. Parents who entrusted the school institution in the 90s were better able to trust that the school would protect kids from things like teachers looking for validation from underage students.
Hi, here's some things my students have said/done since I came out and changed my teacher name.
You have a new name?
Well, yes, it's a name that makes me a lot happier, and that's why I changed it.
I like your new name.
I do too, but it's nice to know I have your approval.
Mix? You mean like mixing you up like cookie dough?
If that's gonna help you remember it, yeah, cookie dough works. Excuse me, Miss K, I need...
It's Mix K!
I did not ask them to do that. You guys are 5th grade, so I feel like I can tell you this a little bit more. My new name is going to be Mix K, and I go by they and she pronouns.
Yay! Woo! Yeah, Mr. is for boys and Mrs. for girls.
Well, I go by Mix Lovebug. What does that make me?
Yep, my work here is done.
Or sharing the bizarre sexual proclivities of what teachers engage in off hours. The 90s were a simpler time when sex was binary and when teachers were expected to keep some sort of boundary between them and their weird sexual private life and their students.
So I have a quick announcement for everybody. Can everybody look up from their phones? My class is important, please. Hello, I'm waiting. You guys look at me. So I usually go by Mr. Johnson, but I would like to be called Zoa now. My name is Zoa, and I'm non-binary. So you can call me Mr. Zoa, you can call me Miss Zoa, you can call me Mix Zoa. That's MX period, and I go by all pronouns. That's it.
As such, the administrator simply requested that David keep that boundary up between himself and his students, and David agreed with his employer. So a contract was formed between the employee and the employer. Dana Rivers came back in fall of 1999 and did what any reasonable, mature, mentally healthy adult would do.
Because he told some of his students about his sex change.
Ms. Rivers was given specific instructions as to not to discuss this information with students. This was violated. The conduct is at issue here, not her transgender orientation.
The district is paying me not to work. How logical is that?
Dana Rivers' plight was all over the airwaves. Students rallied behind her, and school board meetings became heated. Rivers said at the time all she wanted to do was teach.
I'm a teacher by trade. Teaching is a calling. I'm passionate about my career and about working with young people.
She ultimately resigned from Center High School, sued the district, settled for $150,000, and moved to the Bay Area, where she continued as an activist for transgender issues.
Mrs. Rivers was an instant martyr.
Dana Rivers was not shy. She spoke to any and all news outlets who would have her. She gave the same convicted speech about what a victim she had been by ignoring the contract that she freely entered into with her employer. No, that wasn't important here. The narrative now was that they were hateful and bigoted. Forget the facts that the principal spoke and said, listen, we don't care. we asked that he maintain boundaries between herself and the students, and she didn't do it. She agreed and didn't uphold her end. No, fuck him. He's transphobic. He was a bigoted piece of shit, and so the whole school had to be put on blast. And Dana Rivers exalted as a martyr of the movement. Newly empowered and all of the attention she had gotten, she was ready to take on her next opponent, and she zeroed in on the prize. Every year in Michigan, there was a sinister group of fascists who met every year to engage in the worst of transphobic practices that is known to man. The biggest transphobes is that the males who rape, kill, attack, and heckle other trans women? Fuck no! It is the women who are meeting for a folk festival, a music festival in the woods where they camp out and make campfires and they play acoustic guitars and listen to music that nobody really likes. No, that can't happen. He was destined, he was determined to infiltrate the ranks of the so-called female-only camping outing. Yes, forget about the fact that it is the only one in the entire United States and it only lasts for a weekend. He would not stand by and allow this female-only event to go down without at least several penises in the crowd, so hear me out. So he rallied after rallied. What they did was they gathered up the ranks. He got other penises and dresses, and they began to swarm. The Michigan Women's Music Festival would go down in flames. He made sure that penises infiltrated and penetrated through every aspect of female-only spaces, because inclusion is kind, and we must be kind. First, as a man, David Warfield accomplished teaching goals and won awards for his excellent work on behalf of the children. Then as a woman, Dana Rivers stood tall and she toppled down the fascist, sinister, women's only Michigan Women's Music Festival, a beacon of fascism and a harbinger of destruction for the trans community. Yes, he was a warrior and he soldiered on. He toppled the Goliath and he won. Stunning and brave. He is a wonderful teacher and a beloved treasure of the community, a trans pioneer. Dana Rivers, strong, brave, stunning, civil rights leader. Dana Rivers. And then she the same thing. What? No, I was just saying how she had also murdered 2 lesbians and their son. No, I was saying she murdered 2 lesbians and their son and stabbed them to death, and then I think like shot them a bunch of times and then set their house on fire. But no, but she is just, stunning and brave.
She fell off the radar until last week when police spotted her coming out of the burning home where they found bodies of 2 women. Police believe Rivers set the home on fire to hide the bodies. The couple's adopted son was found in the driveway. Police said Rivers was covered in blood and they found ammunition in her pockets, but haven't offered any kind of motive for the triple murder.
You can't think of a motive? Look no further, because I found one for you. This is one of, if not the most heinous anti-lesbian, anti-female hate crimes the United States has ever seen. This is a clear case of raging lesbophobia, a deep, sinister hatred for female exclusive sexuality, for female exclusive spaces. This man was one of the leading organizers of Camp Trans, which was a protest movement against MichFest, the Michigan Women's Music Festival, held every year on private camping grounds in Michigan. So that a few hundred women who traditionally haven't fit in much, who maybe they were a little bit of like the outcast in their family or had experienced lesbophobia in their lives, who didn't feel like they fit in, could spend 5 days a year with other women, with other lesbians, with other female-born people that they could feel connected with. Did it make you that mad? This fucking freak was part of a counter-resistance to take down a women's music festival where women would camp out together and sing songs together and play acoustic guitars and have bonfires. And they were so threatened by that. So threatened that not only was the music festival exclusive, but the sexuality of lesbians is exclusive, meaning it doesn't include you. There is no such thing as a transbian. You are a heterosexual man with a fetish. It is called autogynephilia. And there is an accompanying rate of violence that is associated with this paraphilia. It is a sexual deviant disorder of the brain, and it should be on the DSM-5. Not only was this a lesbian female hate crime, but this family was black. Both of these women were black. Their son was black. And they befriended Mr. Wakefield. David, or whatever his fucking last name is, they befriended David. The fact that the mainstream media has ignored this level of violence against women, against same-sex attracted women, against lesbians, is sinister. It is 100% to pander to the pro-trans lobby. It's also telling that the singular recorded hate crime of a trans person in the year 2021 on the globe was of a trans-identified female. And it is rarely discussed. For some reason. And we don't even have a term for hate crimes against women. Because it's so common. There's so many hate crimes against women. We'd be seeing them every 6 minutes. These women were slaughtered in malice. And we are going to break down this tragedy in real detail. Stay tuned for part 2.